I got this comment saying that I should do more 4-bottle blinds, and what better way to start that than with 3 of the top bottles from our fantasy whiskey draft and 1 ringer. Let's talk about it. All right, so I picked an assortment of bottles as like top end as you can get, not necessarily as top end as you can get, as top end as I can get. So we had a thing called the Fantasy Whiskey Draft and then the subsequent Fantasy Whiskey Draft finale, or the league championship, whatever you want to call it. It is the culmination of what the Fantasy Whiskey Draft this year was. We had 6 reviewers, each put in 5 picks, 30 total, sent in 3 1-ounce samples of the bottles that they picked. My wife sorted through them and sent them back out to people, so you got 15 of the random samples. 3 of these bottles were 1, 2, and 3. The Stagg is a store pick, but technically the 3rd place bottle was Stagg 24A. I don't have that one. So I substituted with a Stagg that I like just as much, and it's closer to that proof point. The George T. Stagg was the number 1 overall pick. The 13th Colony Double Oaked was the number 2 overall pick, as rated by 3 separate reviewers. And then Stagg 24A was the 3rd, and then I figured Parker's Double Barrel just because it's close, and I think it hangs with all of these. Special thanks to Brian Einecker for giving me this to kill. At some point, he and I are going to kill the rest of it. There's about that much left in it. So that's all 4 of these bottles. I've got all 4 glasses here. There is a letter underneath each of them. There's a letter underneath the corresponding bottle, so I don't screw that up. I've already mixed them up, but we're going to mix them up a little bit more. I have had a starter pour of whiskey because I didn't want to just jump into 130 plus proof. Let's get into this blind. Starting with my left glass, or glass 1, and we'll go from there. So here goes. Let's see what it smells like. This one's faintly nutty. It's a little bit delicate on the nose, more delicate than I would have expected any 130 plus proof whiskey to be. A little bit of marshmallow, a little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of oak, maybe some chocolate. It really honestly does not even smell like it's 100 proof. Like, there is no ethanol in here whatsoever. Like, I had to even check to make sure there was whiskey in the glass. So on the nose, I like this one. It's not giving me much, but we'll see what it tastes like. So here goes. Cheers. Oh yeah, it hits your palate like a ton of bricks. Any proof that it missed on the nose, found on the palate. Kind of choking a little bit, not gonna lie. Immediately cherry, immediately some chocolate notes, dark chocolate. I mean, it's really good. A lot of oak notes, which you would expect from any one of these. It's got a lot of cherry immediately on the palate. It bursts through with heat. Very pleasant, very powerful. It is very thick in the consistency. The finish is long and vibrant. It's not too hot though. I think there's a little bit of lingering heat at the back of my throat, but not too much else. The flavor really stays, definitely like chocolate-covered cherries. I don't expect to not like any of these, but I do appreciate this one. As we get further into the blind, they will separate themselves more, but so far, nothing that I dislike on this one. The nose might end up dragging it down a little bit on the end. I'm going to drink a little water, and then I'm going to go on to sample number 2. While you're watching, don't forget to comment which one you think is going to win before the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out a ton. Let's check out number 2. Oh, wow. I said the first one's a little nutty. This one's very nutty. Peanut brittle, caramel, little bit of chocolate, almost like a chocolate turtle. It smells definitely not like it's 130 proof, but I'm going to bet it smells maybe 115, 120, something like that. A little bit of ethanol, but not too much. Let's see what it tastes like. No surprises from the nose of the palate. Chocolate, definitely still some nuttiness, definitely still some caramel. A little bit more like brown sugar and oak. This one is not as vibrant on the palate. Definitely not near as hot. Doesn't pop with flavor. But it has like a nice slow burn. It kind of rides a wave up at you. I won't say that it's delicate or smooth, but I will say that it's measured. The consistency is medium to thick. It's not real thick. It finishes with a lot of chocolate and oak. Not a lot of the sweetness of the other flavors, which is okay. It tastes like it's about 120 proof, definitely not in the 130s. There's a lack of fruit, which kind of helps me determine which one I think that is. Overall, really solid whiskey. We'll see where it fares towards the end. I have a feeling that I know which the first 2 are, so let's check out what the second 2 are. Drink some water. Really trying not to get turned in a 130 plus proof 4-bottle blind. Go big or go home, and I'm already home, so may as well go big. All right, on to glass number 3. All right, confectioner's sugar, a little bit of cherry, a little bit of oak, a little bit of some kind of sawdustiness, very little bit of ethanol, but not like anything crazy. The nose on this one, I would say, is probably the most distinct so far. I'd be very surprised if I didn't already know what this is off the nose, but it's the fun of blinds. No one really ever knows. On the nose, I like it already. I think I actually like it the best out of the three so far. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers. That sawdusty oak is for sure in there. Has a little bit of dark chocolate on the end, a little bit of cherry. The consistency is probably the least thick so far, but it has a very coating mouthfeel, and the finish, those flavors just stay. Like the cherry oak sawdustiness, like it has a distinct like rickhouse taste. Like it tastes like a rickhouse smells. The finish definitely lingers and then rides off into the sunset. It does not in any way taste like it's 134 proof. I think it tastes like 120, maybe 115. It doesn't leave me wanting anything. Like so far, it is probably the most well-rounded. The finish, I think, is there. I think the ethanol is closer to what you'd expect from 130 proof. Still some pretty deeply chocolatey notes on the finish, on the end. Pretty great, though. Some water. Go for number 4. We'll rank, guess, and reveal. Here goes. Glass number 4. This one's a little light on the nose also. It mostly just smells fruity. A little bit of marshmallow on there. A little bit of like brown sugar kind of vibes. Not anything like super oaky. Not getting like any chocolate or like leather or oak. This one's got a little bit more ethanol on the nose, especially when you breathe in real deep. This one, I think, smells appropriately for 132 to 136.8 proof. I think it's probably one of the two in the middle. Very grapey. Let's give it a taste, and then we'll give you some results. Definitely grape, definitely cherry, definitely some leather, some oak. Consistencies, once again, right in the middle, I think. The finish lingers with a lot of that leather and oak, some cherry too. I think this one tastes hotter than the last one. I don't know if that means proof-wise or if it's just younger. Not sure. It is definitely, it grows on you on the palate. It's good, but it feels like it might be a little unbalanced, maybe the youngest. Not sure. Let's take a sip of water and then we'll rank these. All right, so as far as ranking, we're going to go glass 4 is in 4th place. Glass 1 is in 3rd place simply because of the nose. I think the nose on that one was real tough. Number 2 is 2nd place, and number 3 is 1st place. I'm going to guess that 4 was the Stagg store pick. 1 is the 13th Colony Double Oaked. I'm going to guess that 2 is the Parker's Heritage. And I'm going to guess that my top pick, or number 1, was George T. Stagg. Basically why? Chocolate, and then a bomb on the palate that makes me think that it is 13th Colony Double Oaked. 2 is the most nutty. Nuttiness is a very Heaven Hill flavor. Also, I think it's very well blended to have a lot of the heat out of that, and that is 100% a Connor O'Driscoll thing. That man hates anything that tastes hot. This one, I think, is Buffalo Trace, and I think that sawdusty vibe belies the 15-year age statement. And this just tasted like a single barrel. Honestly, it had a lot of very spiky notes, and then on the nose, it just wasn't as much of what I wanted it to be. So that's just where we're at. Let's find out how wrong I am. All right. Number 4 is C. That's the George T. Stagg. Ruh-roh. So number 1 is A, which is the Stagg store pick. This is B, which I'm pretty sure is the Parkers. B is the Parkers. And then finally, the middle one, or number 3, is D, which is the 13th Colony Double Oaked. So, wow, that is a shocking blind. Blinds are a lot of fun that we learned which is something that we learned in the Fantasy Whiskey Draft or the Fantasy Whiskey League, whatever we're going to call it. I think next year, draft and league are 2 separate things. So out of all of these, 13th Colony Double Oaked is my favorite, which is not unsurprising. It was very close to the top of my list in 2023. It was my top bourbon of 2023. So I don't know. Well, maybe it's just the timeout. Maybe Double Oaked versus unfinished is not fair. I'm not sure, but that's the result of this blind. On the 13th, we are going live with Tom, the Bourbon Jerk, on his channel, so stay tuned. I will have the info for that on all of my socials. We will have some more lives coming up in the near future, so stay tuned for that. If you want to support the channel, we have YouTube memberships. We have Patreon memberships of a sticker club and a sample club. We have merch available in our merch store. All of those links are in the description to this video. Be sure to drop a comment telling me if you agree with the results of this blind, if you think I'm a hack, whatever. I'm here for all of your comments. Definitely drop them below. If you like this content, check out our other videos. Please like and comment on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and we hope you'll join us in drinking like a gentleman. Get a little bit more ethanol in the nose. Peanut butter. Cannot talk to save my life today. It's going to be great for a live later.